Hello and welcome back to Politics on the Prairie. My name is Dan Williams, or Spartan D34, depending on where you find me. And today we'll be adding to our retrospective series on 2022 by looking at some of the state legislature contests in the OKC metro area. So, first I'd like to focus on the state senate. As you can see before you, we have state senate districts 22, 30, and 40. And I really want to emphasize some of the things that went on during redistricting and how we can see those ideas played out in an actual electoral contest. Now, these were the only contested Senate elections in this area. You notice they're all even. Only even races are up during midterm years for the Oklahoma State Senate versus odds during presidential years. But we have before us Senate District 30 down here, Senate District 40 over here, and Senate District 22 up here in this northwest area. So as you can see down here, this is the Oklahoma City downtown. You can see that Senate District 30 is this kind of urban going into suburban region. Senate District 40 has a little bit of urban area in it, but is mostly suburban. And then Senate District 22 is suburban, exurban with a little bit of rural thrown into it. Now, when the redistricting hearings happened and the legislature explained their plan, some of the things they focused on specifically for the Oklahoma City metro was this idea of concentric circles of representation. Now, obviously, there aren't rings drawn all around Oklahoma City's metro, but if we look at the Senate map, we can see sort of a core set of urban Senate districts, suburban districts around those, and then a exurban rural mix slash with little bits of suburban districts around those, and so on and so forth, right? And these are how those dynamics really played out. You can see here the very urban SD30 has a lot of blue in it. Again, the absentee ballots aren't properly allocated because of how the vote counting works in Oklahoma County, but we can see here in SD30, very blue. Julie Kurt wins by almost 19 points here. Did very well in the early vote. Got a lot of downtown areas here, a bit of War Acres. Very blue overall, right? Then we move to the next tier, which is suburban with parts of urban in it. When we get into Carrie Hicks's district, this is the Hefner corridor. Down here is the Nazarene corridor. And we can see Carrie Hicks winning by about 13.7, doing really well in the early vote. Winning the downtown ports really well. This precinct out here, which is majority black, a lot of apartments here. Losing Nichols Hills, but winning the village. And then out here, we have Senate District 22, which is formerly Bice's district, though it didn't ever look like this when she represented it. And we have Blake Aguirre and Kristen Thompson, very red area, the redder parts of the ethnic corridor, northwest Oklahoma County, almost going into Edmond over here. And then out here this is rural Canadian County up towards Okarche, Piedmont area. And then this is kind of urban suburban, or excuse me, suburban exurban areas of Canadian County. This is Surrey Hills, which is part of Oklahoma City, but is a massive neighborhood. There's about 11,000, 12,000 people around here, which is quite a lot for one neighborhood, at least in my opinion, right? And as we can see here, Kristen Thompson wins by 27.3, almost winning the early vote too, which is again a little bit more partisan now because of the whole polarization around early voting. So, while we could propose that it was intentional to include the districts aligned like these for a partisan result, I do think that wasn't the case here, but it is a fascinating way to conceptualize the new sorting of the new sorting of the political realignment that's going on right now. As we can see here, pretty much super red out here in the rural areas, getting bluer as you move closer to the city, right? And this is further exemplified as we head towards our next map, which will show off the House districts. So as we can see here, we get these merged real quick. There we go. So you can see here, we have the House districts. I don't know why this isn't merged to one file, but apologies about that. We can see a similar effect overall in the metro. So here we have all the state house districts that were contested in 2022. All of them were available to be contested. They're up every 2 years, but these are the ones that just were. So as we can see here, we have HD41, which makes up a lot of that urban, rural slash exurban territory that you talked about, Senate District 22. We have HD83, which is kind of that purely suburban. HD85, which is purely suburban going into urban. HD88, which is purely urban. HD97 is one of majority black districts. 95, which is Middale and North Cleveland County. We have the Norman Trio down here, which we'll get into a little bit more. Southwest Oklahoma County, the east side of the Nazarene Corridor, the west side of the Nazarene Corridor, and then a House District 100, which is split between the Hefner Corridor and Nazarene Corridor, right? So here we can see that Republicans won 41, 83, 85, 84, 90, 95, 100, with Democrats winning 44, 45, 46, 85, 87, 88, and 97. So this kind of demonstrates the House districts around the metro area, as you can see here on our inset, kind of further demonstrates that dynamic urban, suburban, exurban, rural divide that I was talking about with our Senate districts, but also shows how the dynamics of the majority black district we have over here in HD 97. Not the only one. We have HD 99, which is right here, but it wasn't contested in the general, so it doesn't show up on this map. So this really shows how that the House shared a little bit of a different theory of the case when it came to redrawing districts, but some of that concentric circles theory, or concentric zones, if you will, passed over to the House. Though they had different, obviously House districts are a lot smaller, so it's a lot harder to draw those concentric areas. But you can see kind of the ripples of that idea passing through each district. The most rural district, of course, was the biggest margin for Republicans, with the Republican in 41 winning by 35 points, just about, whereas the biggest win for Democrats was in HG 88, which is purely urban. Then again, it was against an independent, with the second biggest win being in 97, followed by 44. The Norman Trio almost mirrors this concentric circles idea, or concentric zones idea, with 44 being the super urban downtown Norman area, 46 being the west side of Norman, and then 45 being the east side going out towards Lake Thunderbird. You can also include HG27 here to get more of an effect like that, but again, not contested in the general election. So you can see that this sort of draw a bunch of districts and then surround those districts in urban core, or around the urban cores, is kind of a theme that was really prevalent in Oklahoma redistricting in the state house and the state senate, and how those may have influenced election results going from there. On the books, you can't pick your voters in Oklahoma, certainly, absolutely, of course. But people are aware of political dynamics that go on, so that when we choose to draw districts in a certain way, people aren't ignorant of what results that may produce, but there are outliers. For instance, House District 83 was particularly close, despite it being majority Republican, pretty suburban in nature, but in the outer suburban edges, sort of here in the northwest portion of Oklahoma County on the outer edge of the Hefner Corridor. So dynamics can change. It can be different. There are race-specific dynamics between candidate quality and all that kind of stuff. But especially this close to redistricting, the immediate election after redistricting, the ideas of which we applied those districts can heavily influence the results for them. Anyway, this has been Dan Williams with Politics on the Prairie. I will see you all in the next episode. Please encourage your friends and family to subscribe. Have a great day.